Pete's win at the 1995 U.S. Open left no doubt who the #1 player in the world was, and his confidence soared. But battle-weary from the grind of the year, Pete went into the 1995 Davis Cup final as a clear underdog on the slow, heavy red clay in Russia.
We started that year with me, Pete, and Jim sitting in a room basically saying, guys, let's get this done this year. Let's put together a team and let's do this. Let's win this thing. We went through the whole year together. I injured myself late in that year and couldn't make it, but went over to Russia to watch this tie because I knew it was going to be historic.
Everybody said that that was his worst surface and that he could never hang with these guys. But Pete always did what he needed to do to win a match.
To watch him take his game and apply it to that sort of moment, and to take his mind and his spirit, because I believe it was only his mind and his heart that got him through that.
I'm in the locker room pumped up because Pete just won the match, and I see him go down, so you get this sort of feeling, yes, oh, that's not good.
I've never really cramped to that degree. I've had some minor cramps, but that's the first time where I had this most unbelievable sensation where I had no control over my legs. I think my left groin, my right hamstring completely locked up, and I couldn't, it was just painful, like a sharp pain, and I just needed to straighten out my legs. And next thing I knew, I was being carried off.
After Pete collapsed, Jim Courier would lose his singles match to Yevgeny Kafelnikov. In what would be considered a very risky move, team captain Tom Gullickson would select Pete to play doubles the following day alongside Todd Martin.
It's a gamble on the team captain's part to put him in there, but it played out beautifully because Pete dominated the court.
There it is.
He came back the next day, and he put us on his back and just said, we're not losing, and took Kafelnikov out.
He really had no business being able to pull that weekend off. I mean, it was just asking too much of anybody. But what he did was just, it was a beauty to watch.
Tim Gullickson would lose his fight with brain cancer on May 3rd, 1996. And Pete would attend his first funeral.
Someone that had so much life, just to slowly lose it in front of our eyes was very, very sad.
Still in mourning, Pete would get to the semifinals of the French Open, his best result. From 1996 until '99, Pete would play in 5 Grand Slam finals, winning them all and tying Roy Emerson's record for most Grand Slam titles. His performance throughout the 90s would make him forever known as the best player of the decade. And by all accounts, the Sampras serve was the greatest serve of all time.
Doctor once told me that they looked at his shoulder, and this is a doctor that had looked at many great pitchers in baseball over the years, and he said he'd never seen a shoulder muscle and area that was as well put together as Pete Sampras.
His percentage of holds in the 90s was like 92%. How do you beat a guy that holds serve 92% of the time?
He would decide and dictate who would win or lose because he was unbreakable. He would give you 2 or 3, 4 service games, and all of a sudden he breaks you and you don't know what happened.
I would tell somebody that's never faced Pete's serve to stand at a baseline with the racket in their hand, take 2 lunging steps one direction and stretch out your racket, and then mark that spot. And then go back to your return position, take 2 lunging steps to the other direction, stick out your racket, and then mark that spot. And realize the distance between those 2 points has to be covered with something coming at you north of 135 miles an hour. And then while you're worried about covering that, don't forget about the fact that he could hit one probably about 142 straight in your body and just saw you off.
Being a great server is like being a great pitcher. You just try to, overwhelm with power, you overwhelm with spin, and you try to keep them off balance.
Some guys, you feel like that you have a really good sense of where they're going to hit it. He could throw the toss to the left and go middle. He could throw that toss that, like, for sure you think he'd go middle and he'd go wide. He'd throw the toss behind his head like he was going to hit a kick, and then he'd go flat.
It wasn't that it was fast and heavy. It was the kind of serve that when you tried to hit it, you almost felt like it pushed you back. It had weight to it. And it's hard to really describe to someone what that is. It's almost like a pitcher. You say he's got a great fastball, but it's got late movement on it.
You can have a massive serve, but he had an accurate serve. Be break point, and I almost feel like somebody would just throw down a dime and then he'd hit it. He would just hit corners, he would hit spots. What made the serve the best by far is his second serve. And John Newcomb used to say, you're only as good as your second serve. And the reason why Pete won 14 majors is because of his second serve.
His second serve was an opportunity for him. It wasn't a way to start the point.
He had the ability to not fear double faults, and he also had the ability to almost play it like a first serve. A lot of guys get nervous on their second serve or they fear double faulting. He saw it as an opportunity to be aggressive and take control of the point. Pete's second serve was better than 80% of the guys' first serves on the tour.
He has such a presence on the court that is so tough to deal with. And you can be as mentally tough as you want to be. You just can't deal with that serve.